Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Building a Better South. We've got an exciting new project to introduce today.
Yeah, excited to share some details with you guys.
Where are we at today?
We're in Glenview, Kentucky, which is really just super close to where we live now.
Yeah,
A couple streets over.
We could almost hit a 5-iron over to Edgewood.
Yes.
And we're on Blackberry Hill Road and our latest project that Gretchen and I are going to take you guys from the start to the finish and bring along some props.
Yes.
Trying to get TaylorMade to sponsor these videos. No, not really. There is a point to this and we'll show you here in a few minutes.
Yes. So we've got this beautiful lot up here. It has a park-like setting. There are tons of trees. It's really peaceful up here. We love Glenview. It's a quaint area within Louisville, Kentucky. And we love this lot, so.
Yeah, and it's not like Norton Commons. We've showed you the fine home building house and some of the other Magnolia cottages and whatnot. When we build in there, there's really, there's only one way to situate a house.
Right.
But when you get on a lot like this where you've got 2 acres, there's, I'm gonna say, thousands of possibilities. So I brought along my trusty traffic cones that Zach purchased a few houses ago, and they're a great way when we're trying to get the orientation of where the sun rises and sun sets. We'll position these. Usually I'll get the front corners or the front 2 porch corners or even the front porches. I've got more than 2, but I wanted to illustrate when you're standing from the distance, when you're arriving at a house, the position to the driveway, the sun is so important.
It absolutely is.
And we've taken a few trips up here to get this one positioned just right.
Yeah, there's been some tweaks in the orange cones just to get the placement just right. But we both feel really good about how this home is going to be situated on this beautiful lot.
Yeah, and so a little backstory on this lot for you guys. When we first purchased this land, it was 4 acres, 2 lots. Our friend John Mann with Linehan was instrumental in kind of helping us orchestrate this deal, and he had some great ideas, and we kind of melded those all together. But there used to be 2 long linear lots that faced the road, and where we're standing was like a flagpole lot, so you had to drive up a little bitty driveway to get up to it. So we actually flipped the lots and turned them both to face the street.
Right, which is so nice.
Really changed the whole dynamic of this. So the lower lot was all wooded. You saw as you came up to the approach, we carved out just enough, tried to keep all the mature trees we could.
Yeah, beautiful meandering driveway, which is like Edgewood, which was
we love that meandering driveway.
That.
So, and that way it gives a little mystery when you're coming up the driveway. You're like, what's going to be up there?
Yeah, because you can't really see the home. You won't be able to see it from the street level, which is really nice. So it's going to feel like a really nice private lot. But you do have neighbors next door.
But the key in situating a lot on any land is really maximizing, how can you maximize the lot you have to its fullest?
Right.
And I feel like that's what we've done. We've maximized the views out the front because there's no houses out front. The views out the back. This house is loaded with windows, and I can't wait. I can envision walking through it in my head, but I can't wait to walk through it in person once the framing starts. But today we're going to take you through something that we've never taken you through before, and that's the foundation. And really, even before a good foundation starts, is the footing. So that's what all the beautiful stuff that Gretchen does and that we do all sits on a solid footing, and all footings aren't created equal.
No.
So come on, let's go, and we'll show you a little bit about what we've got going on down here.
Yeah, so this will have a finished walkout basement, which is going to be really nice, I think, for this home.
Yeah, so we're walking between the garage right now. So you got a garage here. We'll have a small detached garage here. And then we'll just take you on down here.
Yeah, take you down the hillside, the Blackberry hillside.
Maybe I can find my golf ball.
Maybe.
I think people are going to be surprised as to what goes into a footing because, it always gets covered in dirt or rock or soil. You never know how it's done. It's just done.
Yes.
I'll let you focus on your steps. So eventually we'll carve a staircase into the hillside here to get to the lower portion of the backyard. And I don't think it's rained in like 3 weeks, so it's nice and crusty and dusty back here. So let's hop over. We're going to actually go into the basement today. And so we're crossing over the footing right here. So the first thing I want to talk about is when you do a walkout, and walkout basically means you're walking out to grade. So
Right.
in order to have a flush transition from the inside of the house to the outside of the house, you got to have a solid footing that is below the frost line. We're in Louisville, Kentucky. Our frost line is 24 inches below grade. So we've got to dig down 24 inches. And the reason we do that is if water were to ever get down here, it gets below freezing and freezes. If it's below that frost line and freezes, it's going to pop that footer up during the winter. You know, you may notice some settling or some cracks. Come summer, once it all thaws, it'll actually sink back down. So major foundation issues if your footing is not done correctly. And one thing we like to do is, I call this a candy cane rebar. So we've got a couple rows of rebar that are inside the concrete that add that structure to it. But a lot of guys will just leave this rebar pointed straight up for safety reasons. We like to have the guys bend it over so, you know, if anybody did ever slip and fall, they're going to have a round object to fall against instead of a sharp puncturing spot. So one thing we like to do here, when we go into the house, so there's some spots at the front of the house that we set on grade, and we're able to do that because they will be above the frost or below the frost line. We'll fill in all around it. But I want to show you what we do with the drain tile and how we manage moisture in these basements. And I think you can best illustrate that over here. So our footer is about 1 foot deep, and this will all get filled with gravel. So any water that gets around the basement or even in the basement, you wouldn't think you'd want to get water into the basement, but that is our way to manage moisture. So look at this right here, guys. So this drain tile, I'm going to lift this up. Gretchen, will you help me pull that up? So within our footing, what we've done, we've put a hole in here and we've got drain tiles. So what that allows water to do is it'll transfer from the outside into the basement, under the slab, under the basement floor, and we'll have a series of sump crocks or sump pumps that will dig in below this dirt. So it'll attract all that water from outside the basement, anywhere around the house, and then we'll drain it and shoot it as far away from the house as possible. So basically that relieves what's called hydrostatic pressure on the outside of the foundation. So great way to manage the moisture. And so what we do is we put this drain tile, it's going to carry water all around the outside and inside of this footer, and it really makes for a dry basement if done properly.
Yes. That's always the goal.
So I'm going to put that back. So tomorrow the guys will be placing the gravel all within the basement in here. So that'll be pretty exciting stuff. So the reason this footer is not dug into the ground like that walkout was, well, you can see the walls here that are, you know, we're going to have 10-foot walls here in the basement. So you'll be well under grade, and these will not have any issues of thawing. And one thing we did in this house, so I'm actually standing in what will be the front porch. So the front porch, we excavated the front porch. This will be concrete on all 4 walls and the ceiling. So it creates almost a safer, a bunk room, tornado room, or panic room. Or shoe storage, whatever's most important to you.
Yeah, who knows?
All right, so one of the other things that I brought my trusty golf club for is we've sunken this level of the basement down. I think we showed you in the Glenview tutor some of the sunken rooms we've done, but this room will sit about 2 feet below the rest of the basement. And so as you come, the camera's kind of standing in the staircase. So when you come down the staircase, you'll look in and you'll have what will be your golf mat. The golf screen will be right there. So
I'm going to move out of the way.
you'll be sitting
I don't
right
wanna get
here and hopefully hitting your balls into the net at Augusta National right from the comfort of your own home.
Yeah, that's a really neat feature that Jason and I decided to incorporate because you've done it in several homes. So we'll have it wired and ready to go for future use for a golf room. Again, you could use this sunken room as, you know, a big screening room and put a TV,
Yeah.
but I think, you know, There seems to be a lot of golfers in Kentucky.
Yeah, and we say golf room, it'll actually be a multi-purpose room.
Right.
So you can do like, you can throw a football into the net, you can kick soccer balls, you can dribble basketballs.
Right.
So it'll really be a multi-purpose room. I love golf, so I just wanted to illustrate the golf room.
Right, and that's a good point, because instead of the kids, sitting and playing video games, they're actually more interactive by throwing and kicking. So I love the idea of kind of this sports themed room.
And so again, golf room is lowered down. This right here will be elevated back up 2 feet. There'll be a railing here. We'll probably do some type of bar top where people can stand safely away from the golfers, good and bad.
Do you hit like hard golf balls when you hit into those, or are they soft?
It's real. It's got to be the real deal.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
So we'll have to soundproof the room so you don't hear the hits of golf balls upstairs.
Are you hollering 4 when you hit it?
Hopefully not, but occasionally.
Okay.
So anyway, this is the front of the house. Back of the house will be loaded with windows, media room, bar, all that stuff that will flow out to the backyard entertainment area.
Which sets up perfectly if for a pool or just a really nice big flat backyard.
And one thing to think about, if you are doing a basement, a lot of people don't have basements. So, and some people won't do sump pumps because they can gravity feed. We always put a sump pump in.
Yeah.
And because this basement has 2 levels, we're gonna have 2 sump pumps. We'll have one on the main level, and then since this level is a little bit lower, there happened to be a fireplace in the office up here on the first floor. So we kind of carved out this little spot in the footing, and we're gonna sit this sump crock right here. So if there's ever any water, it's definitely gonna go to the lowest spot first. So
Right.
if you're ever building with an elevator pit or something that's lower than the rest of the house, always wanna manage that moisture.
Yeah. So should we tell them a little bit about what the exterior of this home is going to look like?
No, we're talking site plan, footings, all the stuff that is so exciting that people are just hanging on every word.
Well, so
Okay,
yeah.
yes, we can.
So it's going to be a traditional 2-story. So it'll have a first floor master and then bedrooms upstairs. It will have a big long front porch across the front. We're thinking, I think, paint it white brick and some cedar shake. Maybe trying to get a cool cedar roof.
Ooh, in Kentucky?
In Kentucky.
Oh man.
We recently
I'm
went
gonna
down
have to tune in to see this.
No, we recently went down to Birmingham and saw several cedar roofs down there. So maybe, I mean, we're gonna, it's with anything, you got to price it out and weigh the pros and cons of using certain products. But I think it's gonna, fit well with Glenview. It's gonna have a traditional type of feel to it.
Yeah.
Which Glenview, has tons of beautiful historic homes, like our personal home. So
Yeah.
we want to kind of keep in
with the
line.
history.
Keep with the history. So
And we
nothing
always
too overly modern looking.
try to be mindful of the surroundings
Right.
we're building in, and you definitely want it to fit in, and you want the neighbors to appreciate and add value to the neighborhood.
Right.
So, all right, so that's a little bit of footers, maybe what the outside's gonna look like. So next in line for this project, again, we've got tons of gravel coming in, again, a foot all across this to help manage that moisture. Once the gravel is in, we'll get our engineers back in here. We'll pinpoint the corners of the footer, and we'll start setting the foundation wall. So we'll have 2 panels, one on each side, fill it with rebar, we'll pump in the concrete, and that'll set for a few days, waterproof it. We'll bring you guys back to see more exciting, riveting stuff for YouTube.
And I will say, though, as a designer, if you are a designer who works on new construction and new build, by this point, jumping in, like I've already started thinking about kitchen layout. Once I get that final set of plans in my hands, I've already started thinking of kitchen layout, started working on kitchen design, lighting plan, all those kind of space planning before we even start framing, because it's just good to get a jump start on all that so you can get your pricing all together and kind of figure out where you want to be in budget and what's going to work for the home.
And I joke a little bit about the footers and not being too exciting, but trust me, if you've ever had a basement with water problems, it's one of the most miserable things to manage, and it can be super expensive to mediate. So we definitely put a lot of effort And we've been using River City Foundations for, gosh, 15 years on every project we do. We work really well together. They have a high level of expectations on, us, and we have on them on what we expect too. So we expect nothing less with this one.
Right.
All right, it's getting hot. Let's go get an ice cold lemonade on that front porch or iced tea or something.
Yes.
All right, if they want to follow you, how can they get a hold of you?
You can find me on Instagram under Gretchen Black.
And I'm Jason Black with Artisan Signature Homes, coming to you from Blackberry Hill Road, and together
We're
building a better South.